From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden Neville.
On today's show, Coach O speaks about returning to practice and getting ready for the team's biggest game of the season. Brayden Revenberg sits down with me to talk about what he likes to do off the field and about this upcoming Labor Day Classic. And James Butler talks about trying to repeat his success against the Lions in this next game. It's Thursday, August 31st, 2023. I'm Brayden Neville, and this is Ticats Today. The Ticats were back on the field today practicing, and it was a cold morning. People were saying it feels like football weather out there, but it's too early for football weather. We're still in August. September's tomorrow, I know, but can we still have that summer a little bit longer? I'm not ready for fall yet. The Ticats were back on the field getting ready for that marquee matchup with the Toronto Argonauts next Monday, which means today's practice was actually a day one on a Thursday, which is something you really never see, but it's Labor Day. It's a different time of year. There's a different buzz in the air. And who isn't ready for this matchup? The Ticats coming off a win. Toronto playing as good as they've been playing this season. And on paper, this one has the potential to be an exciting matchup. One guy that was back on the field today for the Ticats was Joel Figueroa, or Big Fig as the guys call him. And it's a guy the Ticats will be glad to have back whenever that time may come, when he steps in on that, starting on that O-line. He's been out several weeks and makes a big difference on the O-line, and on an O-line that's already playing as well as they have. Coach O spoke to me about that O-line and how well they've been playing. Joel Figueroa coming back, and of course, the upcoming matchup with the Argos.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think he'll be the first to tell you it's exciting. We'll see. We'll see how he responds. It's been a while since he's done specific football activity, in a group setting, but it's nice to have a veteran presence like that out there.
You guys played excellent against BC, but one unit that maybe doesn't get as much credit as that O-line. The O-line was incredible. They had 3 players on the PFF Team of the Week this week. Why do you think they were able to be so successful against a BC Lions defense that's been pretty good this season?
Yeah, I just think the preparation is good. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. You start with, obviously the running back played very well. I thought the play calling was mixed up very well. I thought they stayed aggressive for 4 quarters. And, sometimes you're rolling. And when you are rolling, you need to take advantage of it. And that was one of those games for us.
And James Butler, you could tell he excelled with the help of that O-line. And does it almost feel like he just keeps getting better and better as the season goes on? I know he's been playing great all season, but it seems like he's really come into his own the last couple of games.
Yeah, again, I think he'd be the first to tell you that it's going to start up front. And those guys have, they've been working hard at practice. Gibby's always putting them through the paces. And then, when you give a guy like Butler the opportunities that he has, usually it bodes well.
This upcoming game against the Argos, does it almost feel like there's a little more buzz around this one, the Labor Day Classic and everything?
No, there's always more buzz. There's no downplaying that. At the end of the day, there's no more time on the scoreboard. The dimensions of the field remain the same. But to just say it's just like the other game, I think it's about as close to a playoff feel as you're going to get until the playoffs. And it's just a fun. The media, the hype around it is something that we embrace. It's something that the city and the players and just everybody in general look forward to. So it's always a great time in the CFL for that Labor Day Classics.
A great time in the CFL it is, and James Butler will be playing in his first ever Labor Day Classic on Monday. And if he plays anything like he did against the BC Lions last week and just racks it up, the Ticats will be very, very happy because the guy was on fire against the Lions. Coach mentioned how he's been that guy all season, and there's no better place to put up numbers like he did against BC than on Labor Day against the rival Argos in front of a sold-out crowd at Tim Hortons Field. JB spoke about that and the return of his longtime teammate Joel Figueroa following today's practice.
I got to give it to the O-line and the receivers on that. You know what I'm saying? That game definitely wasn't me, So those guys were making holes for me and the receivers blocking downfield, so I got to give it to those guys for sure.
A lot of the O-line members were on the PFF Team of the Week. Do you feel as though they really helped make it a lot easier for you to put up the numbers you did, like you just mentioned, and give you those gaps?
Yeah, it makes sense. Like I was talking to Rev today. I was saying, no, I thought I was Mr. Consistent, but that's you. You know what I'm saying? You're Mr. Consistent. I'm trying to be like you. So yeah, those guys have just been super consistent, staying with it. So I got to give it to those guys for sure. They deserve it.
And not only on the ground have you been a threat, but you've been getting open as a receiver. And you and Taylor have seemed to connect a lot over the last couple of games. Has that been something you've been working on in practice? Are you feeling that connection between him?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I always tell him I got your back. You know what I'm saying? I'm always there as an outlet. You know, obviously I'm never the first read, but I'm always there if he needs me. So just whenever, he needs, a pair of hands, I try to be there for him.
Joel's back at practice. How has it been being back with him, seeing him on the field? I know he's been around the team, but seeing him back on the field, back on that O-line in front of you.
Big Fig is different, man. You know what I'm saying? We were just together all day yesterday. He helped me go get my car. So it was good to see him. I was surprised him out there. I said, you're in a jersey, too. Like, you're not just out there. Because I saw him with his ankle tapes this morning. But I was surprised to see his ankles tape. I saw him out there with a jersey, but it was good to see him out there. You know, obviously he's getting his win back. I told him we can work out as hard as we can, but, practice is always different. So it's good to see Big Fig out there. He's a great, great leader.
And, of course, the big story, this Labor Day Classic, Toronto versus Hamilton. Mm-hmm. It's your first time being a part of this rivalry on Labor Day. What are your feelings heading into this game, and what have you heard about this Labor Day Classic that's been so legendary over the years?
I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? I never played on Labor Day. It's my first ever Labor Day game. I made sure my mom's coming to this game, so I heard it's a big one. But it's a lot of excitement. Obviously, it's big to this town, to this city. Obviously we play these guys a lot, so it's a big one for us. It's a lot of excitement. Obviously, we're playing a really good team. We're excited for the opportunity for sure.
And what do you need to do to have another game like you've been having over the last several weeks?
Just continue executing. Like I always say, try to be the consistency factor. I want that this team to always know what they're going to get out of me week in and week out. So just continuing to be the consistency factor and focus on the small details.
That was James Butler, and he mentioned Brayden Revenberg being Mr. Consistent this year, and that's exactly what Brayden Revenberg has been. He's been consistent all season long, and he's constantly on the PFF's top-rated O-lineman, and last week he was the top left guard for the week, and I can tell you it's an award he pays probably not much attention to, but he sat down with me to discuss that O-line strong play, the upcoming battle of the QEW, and I also got to sit down and just ask him a little bit about what he likes to do when he's not playing football. Right, I'm joined now by O-lineman Brayden Revenberg. Brayden, a lot of buzz around the team this week. These Labor Day Classic games, they're always the talk of the town, Hamilton versus Toronto. Is there always a little extra buzz towards these games?
Yeah, since I've been here in 2016, Labor Day is one of the biggest games in the year, aside from Grey Cup.
It's one of those storied rivalries, right? And the fans just get so into it. But what is that fan support like at the game and around the stadium even before the game heading to Tim Hortons Field?
Yeah, the fan base that we have here in Hamilton, we're very fortunate. It's a great fan base, and it's a great atmosphere to play in.
Does it make a difference? Like, I know the fans always make a difference, but extra on Labor Day, like, is it almost seem louder in Tim Hortons Field?
Yeah, the crowd's always a little bit louder, a little more rowdy as well, and they come here and they got the expectation that we won on Labor Day.
James Butler had an excellent game against BC, but a big part of that has to do with the O-line, and you guys played excellent in front of him, and he mentioned that in his interview today. How important is it for you guys to give him that space and open up those lanes for him?
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, we show up, we have a role to do, we do our job to the best of our abilities, and it was great to see JB get the yards he did, get some touchdowns. It was a fun game, and now we're moving on in Toronto, so we're looking forward to this week.
And you've gotten to work with Taylor Powell over the last several weeks. He's been starting, and it seems like every game he's improving more and more as a starter. Is that something you've noticed in chatting with him and just being around him through practice and playing with him in these games?
Yeah, Taylor's done a great job. When he came in, I don't think he was expecting to take or start this many games. He's got back there. He's running the offense the way he needs to do. He's been doing a great job.
And one guy on that O-line who was rewarded for all of his hard work, Brandon Kemp. He comes out as he's the PFF O-lineman of the week. What can you say about his play and how far he's come this season?
Yeah, it was great seeing him get some recognition. He's been putting in a lot of work, and he came out to play that game, and it was great seeing it.
And you yourself, you were on the team of the week for PFF. I don't know if you pay much attention to that, but just getting honored it must feel nice.
Yeah, I guess it's always nice getting recognition, but I don't think any of us would get that recognition without the other guys in the room, right? Without Beard making the calls he does, without Woody and, our Kimbo kind of playing out to the best of their abilities as well. So,
one thing I do with guys when I talk to them during these chats is I like to know what they do off the field. So what's Brayden Revenberg doing when he's not playing football? What's the day-to-day for you?
Oh, man, there's not too much downtime during the week. Usually a lot of it's spent at the stadium, but usually when I'm done here, it's just kind of get back home, grab some food, make something, watch a little Netflix. Right now it's been Vikings.
You look like you could be on.
Maybe a backup, eh?
Yeah, you could be like for like a Jason Momoa stand-in.
There you go. Like a little extra thicker.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So Vikings. So I've watched a little bit of it. It's a pretty wild show. Is there anything like comedy-wise? Are you a comedy guy at all?
I do love a good comedy, but I can't say I've been watching them as of late.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's that, or it's just kind of hanging out with the O-line. Whenever we have that time, we can go grab dinner together or something like that.
Do you feel there's a pretty good bond between you and the guys and the rest of the guys on that O-line?
Definitely. It's something that I think we really try to reinforce as well, but we also just enjoy spending that time together.
Do you think that correlates almost with being with the guys and being used to the guy next to you and then bring that to the football field?
For sure. That's always been an importance that I think we've put on that, especially just here in Hamilton, is being together, spending a good amount of time together as an offensive line, get to know each other, learn to trust each other, and just kind of building those relationships. And
one thing about having you're out with the guys, I'm sure you get recognized a lot in the city. Just that many big guys all together wearing the Ticats gear.
I mean, it'll definitely draw some gazes from people when you walk into a restaurant. You got 5 guys that are over 6'4", some guys up to 6'7". So yeah.
So you're making sure I'm sure the waiter's bringing out a lot of food for the boys.
We fill that table up. Yeah.
What's the go-to spots if you had to say around Hamilton?
We bounce around a fair bit. We like a little bit of variety, but if there's any all-you-can-eat sushi.
Okay.
We're usually hitting that up.
Yeah, I'm a big sushi guy, too. Yeah. I need some sushi spots, personally. I'm just somewhat new to the Hamilton area, so I'll have to hit you up with some sushi spots. One final question heading into this game. The goal is to win, but what does this O-line and this offense need to do to get a victory here?
It's a simple answer to me. We need to show up. We need to bring that energy. We need to be physical, and we need to execute the game plan.
That was Brayden Revenberg, and he said he's watching the show Vikings. I think it's because he looks like a Viking. We'll have to get the story behind that, but he could be an extra on that show. Dwayne Gretzky will be rocking the Stelco North End stage during both the pregame and halftime at the Labor Day Classic. And with a name like Dwayne Gretzky, you have to be an incredible band. You have to be a great band, the great one. Come on. Don't miss a moment. They play the pregame set from 2 to 2:30. Get your tickets at ticats.ca/tickets. It's going to be a fun night. Everyone's excited for the day game. It's going to be buzzing around Tim Hortons Field. I'm going to be saying it all week, but it will be. So make sure to get those tickets while they last because they are nearly sold out. That's all the time for me today. I want to thank you for listening to Ticats Today.